This takes us to imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is very, very common amongst people of high positions in all walks of life. And it's this feeling like you don't belong there. Like you have all of these people depending upon you and you are not fit for the job. Now, some of this comes back to self-esteem. You might have all the competence in the world, but if you have low self-esteem, you're just going to feel not right for these situations. And for that, I recommend going back to the confidence module, doing some of those sentence completions, and rebuilding your self-esteem. But there's also mindsets that I think interrupt people and make them feel like they need competence in certain areas that their leadership doesn't actually require. So for instance, with the accidental leader, you might feel like you need to be an expert over what these people's lives should look like. And I know at a time I felt like I had to have life answers that were appropriate for all of the people that quit their jobs and moved to Brazil. Now, what I realized is this was a sliding scale. It's on a spectrum, of course, but I was too far thinking that I needed to have the answers for them. Because truly, in this situation, I was more of this accidental leader. I was going to Brazil with my friend regardless. They were invited. So the expertise that I needed was not over what they should have done with their lives. And quite frankly, when I was telling them this is going to be right for you, I probably should have backed off. It put me in a position where I was taking more responsibility than was appropriate to the scenario, but I did it. What I should have done was said, look, I'm not sure what's right for you, but this is right for me now. And I think it's right for people like me now. And if you think you are a person with my set of values, this can make sense for you, but ultimately, you need to make this decision. So one way to get rid of the imposter syndrome is to realize that when you're more of a leader, a social leader, an accidental leader, you don't have to know how everyone else should live their life. You only need to have an idea of the direction you are personally interested in exploring. And you can realize that people like you might get value out of that as well, but there's no guarantees that everybody's going to have an amazing, wonderful time, just that it's the experience that you think is best for you. And that helps take some of that imposter syndrome away because you're not posing as someone with all the answers. The second side of things, the hierarchical leaders, right? When you are a leader of an organization or a company, I think these leaders often think that they need to be the experts. They often think that they need to be the smartest person in the room. Otherwise, why are they the leader, right? It should be the guy next to them if he's actually coming up with all the good ideas. And what this makes them do is sometimes they can shut down productive idea generation and try to claim credit where they shouldn't be because they feel like their leadership, the merit of them being there, is contingent upon them being the smartest technician in the room. This is completely backwards. This is an important mindset. When you're a hierarchical leader, you are not a technician, right? If you are good at coding necessarily, that doesn't mean that you should be the team manager. There can be a better coder than you. What you are responsible for is in getting the best out of everybody and motivating these people towards a common goal and having them all work together to do something better than they could create without one another and in making them feel valued and praised. So when you take this new mindset, the idea that you might give credit to someone else for an idea that was generated with the both of you actually makes more sense because you're trying to get more from this team, not take all the credit for these good ideas. It makes it much easier to praise people and much easier to be secure in your role even when you're not doing the groundwork, the blocking and tackling. That isn't your job as the hierarchical leader. It's to make sure that the people on your team are inspired, moving in the same direction, are personally growing, right? To take an interest in their life and in their career growth, their personal growth, whatever it is. So think through your lives. Are there times where you have felt through your lives? Is there a time where you were in a position of authority or power that was given to you where you felt like you needed to be the smartest, you needed to be the best? And realize instead that what the people around you would most appreciate and what would make you the most effective leader is to figure out instead how you can make the people all around you better than they were without you, how you can make the team a cohesive unit rather than a bunch of individuals trying to get the most for themselves.